Order, please, if you got pagers or cell phones, turn them down. At this time, we'll turn it over to Charlie Hall here and have a discussion, and everybody knows what we're here for about the Supreme Court ruling, and we'll go from there.
Well, as you know, thank you for calling a special meeting. This is something that's unusual and difficult and not within the customary proceedings of the board. I understand that Mr. Arnold is out of town on a prearranged business and could not be here. With the Supreme Court slip opinion coming out yesterday, affirming the decision of Judge Hawes, you've each had an opportunity to review that decision. We've gotten it to you. I just wanted to appear with the board. Of course, it's a public meeting, so that we can address any questions you might have, discuss any concerns that might be coming from the police district, and give you some guidance and direction on how things should proceed until the board makes future decisions. Let's recognize that Debbie Dawson from the Stark County Prosecuting Attorney's Office is also here. Ms. Dawson was your primary counsel on the appeal, and she may have some input or things to say as we go along. I've had some comment with Chief Britt. I see Chief in the back. I haven't talked to Captain Brown, but basically the court's decision undoes the election and by affirming Judge Hawes' decision, and puts everything back to the position you were on the day before the day of the election. So we're back to a Uniontown Police District. It is a limited jurisdiction district, and things are the same as it was there. So you still have a police department. The police department, though, has limited jurisdiction based upon the statutes and the fact that as it was beforehand. We've read the decision. There's plenty of finger pointing to go around. The one thing that I want to say is that whenever there's a ballot issue prepared, there's at least 5 levels of review. It's, locally, you review it here, goes down to the Board of Elections, their reception people review it, it goes to the prosecutor's office, they review it, goes down to Columbus, it's reviewed in Columbus by the Attorney General's office, the Attorney General who counsels the Secretary of State, comes back to the Board of Elections. And then typically there's usually a 6th level where it comes back to you. This mistake was made and missed by several different people at several different levels of review. We've litigated that. We understand that. The Supreme Court has addressed it. We've all learned from that. More importantly, and I think most importantly, I understand now that the Board of Elections is also then adding another level of review. After it comes back from the Attorney General's office, after the Attorney General signs to the Secretary of State reviews it, it comes back here. And that happened in the March primary, and it's another level of review. So a mistake like this should not happen again. A little consolation for those who are most directly affected. I don't know if there's any direct specific questions. I will volunteer that one of the questions that was suggested to me or asked of me is, well, why can't the Uniontown Police District just continue patrolling the entire township? It's a funding issue, not a legal matter. Well, as you are probably already aware, that is not the case. You have a limited district police department. That is what is authorized and in place, and their jurisdiction is within the 9 square miles of the Uniontown Police District. So we have to peel back to that. The primary protection for the remainder of the township shifts back to the responsibility of the sheriff. And so again, we're back to where we were at again. Another question that was posed to me is that the Board of Trustees can simply by unanimous vote extend the Uniontown Police District township-wide. That is not correct. Revised Code Section 505.481, and I brought a clean copy with highlights and red underlines, very specifically provides that if you have a limited jurisdiction police department, which is what Uniontown is, that the only way it can be expanded, even if that expansion is, as you previously expressed, to cover the whole township, is by a unanimous vote of the trustees to put the matter on the ballot. That's the first step. And then, of course, that resolution, second step is, must also make a question in advance, is to expand the police department and use the hired officers that you have or will hire, or to contract with a third entity, whether it's, you know, I've heard comments of, why aren't you going with Hartville, or why aren't you going with North Canton, or why aren't you going with the sheriff? That's a decision for the board to make. And I'm going to suggest that because this is so fresh and some of the nerves are still pretty raw, and especially in the absence of Trustee Arnold, that's a decision that you should not make today. That should be deferred and considered at one of your future meetings when you have a majority, not a majority, but the full board present. You know, my recommendation is that you should proceed. I think, you know, the tally from the last vote was that a majority of the voters was in favor of an expansion. The voters, it was not their mistake. It wasn't the police officer's mistake, and it wasn't the Board of Trustees' mistake. So the best way, the only way, to give the voters an opportunity to express their opinion is to put it back on the ballot. That is my suggestion and recommendation. You, of course, as the Board of Trustees, have to gauge the sentiment, the temperament, the desires of your constituents, and vote and lead accordingly. One of the other questions that I am researching, I do not have the answer to, and the question that was placed to me is, must all of the cars be remarked back to, from Lake Township back to Uniontown? Must all the, and I don't know, Kevin, I can't see from here, my,
Lake.
Does it say Lake? Must all of the badging be returned? I don't know the answer to that. And I don't know if Ms. Dawson's prepared to address that, but what I will do is research the enabling resolution that created the Uniontown Police District, research some of the case law and some of the auditor's rulings on that, and render an opinion. My simple answer is, as of today, I don't see a problem with it, but I don't know the answer, and I want to make sure you have the correct answer.
Well, there'll only be a name change.
Correct. And you know, whether it's a matter of adding Uniontown in front of the lake cars or not, it may be that simple. But let me do some research and make a recommendation to the chief and to the board. But again, it's not something where I think everybody has to go out there with a razor blade and scrape it off today. I don't think our guys have to go out there and rip off their patches and sew on new patches today. Let's do some deliberate legal research and give you your options so that you can make some options. I understand the board's next meeting will be on Tuesday, May 29th because of the Memorial Day holiday. I will represent to you that you will have answers and opinions on those questions well in advance of that meeting. So those were some of the questions that were placed to me by different members of your staff, from different representatives of Lake Township, members of the Uniontown Police Department. I guess my question is at this point, or my suggestion is at this point, let's kind of let the dust settle, let some of the nerves calm, and address it as the board deems that it is ready to address it in due course. As you know, the timeline to put this matter, if you choose to take some action under 505-481, the timeline to put this back on the ballot is August 8th at 4 p.m. So there is some time.
We've got time.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no big rush. We got time to sit down, search it out, and make our decision later.
And
that's what we'll do, really.
Yeah.
We got defeated by the Supreme Court and by the judge, and we accept that. There's no denying it. So we've got to quit patrolling the whole township. We can't do it under law, under statute. There's nothing we can do. This does have to go to the November election if we want to go township-wide anything.
right.
We can't just command it and do it. That's not in our realm of duty.
Right.
We can't do that.
You know, and I guess one final thing I'd like to say, and I'm probably overstepping my bounds in saying this, is there have been some comments that this was a frivolous appeal, that the challenge should never have been made from Judge Hawes' decision. Obviously, I don't believe that, and I'm sure Ms. Dawson from the prosecutor's office doesn't believe that it was frivolous. This was a strong argument that was made by both sides. The law from Beck is what the Supreme Court has now clarified. We had strong case law in the Smith case and in the Mascari versus Tone case to support the arguments that the Citizens Committee made and that the Lake Township Board of Trustees made. So you have done a good thing in the aspect that now the law in the state of Ohio, when it comes to this type of question, is clear. And without casting aspersions on anybody at any level of local, county, or state government, these types of errors occur more frequently and more readily than most of us realize. Just look at the number of cases that we found that were litigated up through to support both sides of the case. So what you have now done is you have assisted every political subdivision in Ohio, every school board in Ohio, every board of elections in all 88 counties by making the law clear. So there was not a frivolous appeal.
I might also add that I know that some of the people in the township have said, well, it's costing a lot of money to hire the attorney and the prosecutor and all that type of thing, and you two can verify we're not paying you a dime extra to do all this, correct?
I haven't seen it.
Well, yeah, let's make that clear. I mean, I'm on a monthly stipend, I get the same amount whether I work 2 hours or 200 hours. And I think that's been the position of Lake Township in all of the years it's had whoever as,
Yes.
or at least as me as their legal
Since
counsel.
you've been our counsel.
And,
The
you know,
prosecutor's office is statutory counsel for this board of trustees as others, so we don't get extra for
You don't get
representing.
extra
And they're-
money
they're
or
funded
extra
through tax
representation
dollars.
or
That's right.
feathers in your hat for trying to do it.
That's right.
So I wanted to clear the air on that too while we're at it. And I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we have to take our time, sort it out, and see what we're gonna do.
And we'll go from there.
Go from
So
there.
if you don't have anything else, I think I'll make a
Debbie,
motion.
you got anything to add to this?
No.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you back here.
No.
No, Debbie don't have anything to say.
I just came in case you had any questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
very good.
Yeah, if there's any questions afterwards, you can ask the prosecutor or any of us. Okay.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Second.
Okay, and that would be at 12:13. Very good. You made a motion, second by Mr.
Oh,
Stahl. Mr. Erb?
yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Stahl?
Is there no hearing of the citizens today?
No, not today. There's no public hearing today or public speaks because we don't have a full contingent here. We want, if we gotta make it, we can't make a decision anyways, and we don't wanna listen to somebody that's all pumped up and hyped up today.
Why not?
Because of the simple fact that we gotta sort this thing out and know ourselves better what we're gonna talk about.
29th will be public speaks.
let me suggest that what you've just observed is typically what happens in a closed-door session. When a board of trustees goes into executive session for meeting with legal counsel to discuss pending or imminent litigation, this is what takes place. But because their appeal is done, because the matter is final, there is no opportunity to go into executive session. It's an opportunity for me to help explain to the trustees what the Supreme Court's decision means, and it's an opportunity for the trustees to ask the prosecutor's office as statutory counsel, me as additional legal counsel, any questions that they might have, so that we can answer those questions. So what you just observed was a public form of an executive session. So the main purpose was to, did everybody get the decision? Does everybody understand the question, or the decision? Does everybody have any questions? And even though the questions that I threw out there that need to be addressed weren't
We don't have
directly
the
put
answer
by
for it yet.
Mr. Stahl or Mr. Erb or Mr. Arnold, I wanted to let them know there are some questions I'm going to be looking at. There are some issues that I'll be addressing. And I'm sure that probably by May 29th, you folks will be back and we can start a fresh discussion at that time.
What time is the meeting on May 29th
6:30?
here?
Yes.
Here.